son? Where'd you find this?
Buckle up, buttercups. It's time to get down to business. Oh, yeah. It's the Totally Legitimate Business Podcast. Totally legit.
Welcome back, folks. It is once again the Totally Legitimate Business Podcast. I want to just give you a gentle reminder to like and subscribe. It really helps out the channel. Today, we have a podcast guest and episode that has been, when we really think about it, decades in the making.
This is true.
Please welcome to the show one of my oldest friends and now an exciting companionship that we get to share in audio engineering. Voice over talent, vocal talent, and narrator extraordinaire. Please welcome to the show, Jeff Tinnean.
Thank you, everybody. Wow, what a reception! It even
They're
fades
all
out.
very
They're so
excited.
good. They're so good at that.
You know, all of those people are Trial by Error fans, so that's why they're really.
That's why there's
really
only 23 of them clapping.
Well, I think that's probably, this is like a good spot to start too, because even like, for context, for people that don't know, I guess we didn't meet in high school. We met playing music. We probably met playing bands, and then I went to Lincoln High.
Right. Yeah.
Knew you during theater, but
Yep, you were
in Lincoln, Nebraska. Yeah, for sure. In Lincoln, Nebraska, I had a band called Catalyst. Jeff had a band called Trial by Error, and at least from our perspective, you had made it. Trial by Error was like the big band, and it was like a big deal to get shows with you guys. And when we finally did get shows with you guys, unlike most bands, even well beyond my time in Nebraska, you guys were always super cool with us, even though we were younger. You definitely like took us under your wings, helped us get good shows. Those are some of the most fun memories of my life, is playing Knickerbocker shows with you guys.
Yeah. Definitely.
You've always been without a question, like that. Yeah. That was just insanely cool that we got to have that as teenagers. But then when I went to high school, I went to your high school, and you were also like entrenched in theater.
That's right.
And you kind of took me under your wing there and kind of showed me the ropes there. And even when I was young, I recognized how like you had ambition and drive and a work ethic that even people that I've met like well beyond those years, very few people have that. So I want you to kind of explain to people what it is you're doing now, and we can get into how you find yourself doing that.
Yeah. So first, I want to just give a small shout out to Nick Tarlowski, who's like a Lincoln music legend. The taking people under your wing, bringing them onto shows, like we learned that from him. He was huge in a punk band called JV All Stars. They had toured internationally, like they played in Japan. They were huge over there. But he put our band Trial by Error on all these punk shows, and we were like a new metal. That was the genre that we, I guess, ascribed ourselves to. And so I learned that from him. So any of that we gave back in any way to Catalyst or other bands, but especially you guys, because you were just good people. You were great musicians, and you were super fun to play shows with. So it quickly became like, while you, I think, are maybe originally fans of us, we became just as big of fans of Catalyst and like your whole group. So anyway, nowadays what I'm doing is voiceover work. It's a space that people have tried to, I think, push me into or encourage me into for a really long time. I actually remember in middle school, my woodshop teacher was like, you should get into voice acting. And I was like, I'm in 8th grade, bro. What the hell does that even mean? Like, what? And, you know, I'd gone to like little theater camps, or what was the big like thespian camp that they had every year? International Thespian Society. Yeah. So I went to that a couple times, and even at those things, I went to some like workshops or something. And I remember a lady told me that I had a great face for radio once, and not those exact words, but you know, sort of. She could tell that I probably wouldn't make it as an on-screen actor, but I could use my voice in many ways. And I still didn't really do that, but I have a real job, like a corporate job, I guess. But I'm getting married in Ireland next year, and in finding additional ways to try to supplement paying for that, my fiance actually was like, you should, look at other jobs or get another job. And I was like, yeah, I don't know what I'd do. I don't want to do a lot that would like take me out of the house or take me away from my kids. And she's like, what if you did like voice acting, like audiobooks and stuff? And I was like, oh yeah, I could definitely do that. And she's like, oh great. Well, I signed you up on this website and you have to produce a demo and here's the info, here's the login info. Here you go. And I was like, oh, okay. So I didn't want to just like do it, because I've heard tons of audio. I've heard bad audio, I guess is what I'll say. And you have too, right? In the space that you work in. And I didn't want to come out of the gate like with bad audio. So I went and got, a decent microphone, tried to set up my guest closet in a way that could produce good raw audio. And then I reached out to people that I knew that were in the audio engineering or audio space. That included you. And we've connected multiple times throughout, once we went off to college, every few years, I think we kind of get in contact and whatnot. So I knew that you would just be a good resource and somebody who was encouraging as well in getting into the space. And if I really needed help with something, like I could probably reach out to you and be able to get the help or insight that I was looking for. And that's true so far. Like I've reached out a couple times, I've sent you a couple things, and you've, either been like, you could fix this, or no, actually you're wrong. Your audio sounds great. It doesn't sound over processed, right? It sounds correctly processed. That was a big win for me in my audio career so far, was an audio engineer telling me, no, it doesn't sound over processed. It sounds correctly processed. So, and after that time, I've now gotten more work. So I'm currently in production of 3 books. So I'm about to finish one of those. That's pretty cool. The second book I'm working on is a second book in a series for a guy that I did at the beginning of the year. And then he actually also is doing another book that's more medically based, on Ehlers-Danlos syndrome, I think is what it's called. Okay. And so I have that book coming up as well. I'm also, trying to get into the commercial space or the, corporate e-training. Whatever people will pay me for to use my voice. I don't think I've found my niche or my genre yet. So I'm still exploring all that. And while I'm doing all that, I'm taking, courses to learn how to produce audio better, engineer audio better. And with every little day, I feel like I get a little bit better. I feel like my audio sounds better. I'm less critical of it today than I was, 6 months ago. I've gotten used to the sound of my own voice. I think for a long time, when I would hear my voice recorded back, was like, oh, what the hell? People
hate this.
People tell me I should do this for a living. Like, what the fuck are they talking about? Like, this sounds awful. Like, this voice is not a voice. Who is soothed by this? That's what I would think. But apparently lots of people. The lady I just finished a book for listened to my voice for 7 hours and then some, because, edits and stuff. And she said, I think it's a good sign that I can listen to your voice for 7 hours and not hate it, right? So that's good. If she does another book, hopefully she reaches out. If not, I have, 7 hours of that book out there. So, or will be out there, soon enough. So, but that's where I'm at right now. I ended up re-outfitting my guest closet because it wasn't producing a good enough raw sound. So I went and found these soundproof panel plans online that I think, some audio, something put up there for free. And I was like, yeah, I could build this, or I could modify this in a way that is more
works for me.
For me. So I did. I made some more custom type ones to fit into the closet that I have. And now it's like an isolation booth in there, and gets pretty hot once in a while, but I can record for, up to 2.5 hours sometimes at a time without needing to step out and cool it down or whatever. So, I think that's the space I'm in right now.
Well, it's been super, I was super stoked when you hit me up and you said you were going to start to look into this stuff. Number one, because I would agree with anyone that has ever told, in terms of acting, there aren't many actors, big name actors, that I feel have like inspired me more than you inspired me in high school. Like just seeing how seriously you took and how good you were at it.
Yeah.
Like it felt like you didn't even have to try, and you could turn from yourself into a totally different character very easily and then back out. And that was not lost on me. It also wasn't lost on our theater teachers. That's why they utilized you the way that you did, is because you had an adept ability at a very young age to kind of do that. That, you know, even some like A-list actors don't have.
Yeah.
So I was really excited.
I appreciate that.
Well, and it's 100% serious. Like the reason that me and everyone else took what we did there so seriously is because we would look at you and be like, damn, we have to pick up our shit so that we're on that level. If we
rode the orphan train.
Yeah, that is for sure. We also won that year at state. So
that was the first year. And then you guys carried a legacy on even trilogy, after that, right? A trilogy, a three-peat.
Two more. I can't remember if they, I'm certain they probably have one more since then, but that's like, we were operating at that level because of people like you, your leadership there. So I was super stoked that you were getting back into any type of acting, much less voice acting, but really stoked about this is because we can nerd out about the audio shit. And like, there's so many times where you've hit me up about stuff and I'm like, damn, he has no idea what's in store. And I just send you back fucking novels of shit. But I knew that we could speed run you and get you like up to competency with audio engineering for this kind of stuff very quickly, which I feel like we did, because it was maybe one or two back and forths and you were sending me audio that was pro grade. But I'm interested in that. I'm kind of interested, like, what was the most difficult part? Acting wasn't a problem for you,
right?
Reading something in the appropriate tone for the context of the
book,
that is
narrating.
That you have that, and you've had that for at least 20 years.
Since I was a kid. Honestly, it's like part of my DNA. Entertaining, storytelling, performance. Yeah, I was going to say exaggerating, but that's not it. It's performing.
Well, that kind of is.
Well, sure. Yeah. But performing with voice and body, physical performance. That's what I wanted to do when I was a kid. I just wanted to be an entertainer. I wanted to be an actor. I wanted to, what you don't realize when you're young is like how grindful it is. And, by the time I got out of high school, I was like, I think I would rather have a stable income and not suffer or starve or whatever, and so when you complimented my drive and my ambition, I think like, fuck, where is that now? I wish I had half of that from then.
This is what I'm saying is that you do. And you always have that. And like, even like, not for nothing, dude, on top of like how hard you worked at school and at music and like all the things that like creatively inspired you, you also worked. Like you worked a lot. Like I remember when I started working, I was like, damn, I'm trying to grind like Jeff, because to me, like, that's the shit that is the more valuable thing. And it's kind of the same realization you have coming out of college is like, I can struggle, or I can just I'm a good worker. I know I'm a good worker. Let me just figure out a way to solidify some income and give me a little bit of flexibility.
And I still found, I guess, I got back. I took like a 5-year hiatus from doing, when I was still living in Lincoln, I took like a 5-year hiatus from doing any theater, any entertaining, any performance or whatever. And then I think it was, Chris Maley had a play that he had written.
Is it To Each His Own?
To Each His Own. That's it.
Yeah. Shout out Maley. Shout out
Chris Maley. Fantastic teacher, writer, critical thinker, like somebody who I just have always looked up to. Great father, an inspiration as a father. But somebody was working on it with them.
It was me.
It was you. It was you. That's it. It was you. I couldn't remember if it was Christian Novotny who I thought was sort of in it, but it was you. Yeah, you were working on it. And I think that, there was some kind of table read or something, or of the sort, or auditions are happening, you're like, dude, you should just try to get involved with this. And I was like, oh yeah, I should. And so I think I hit up either Patricia Kojans, again, shout out
Patsy,
to her,
shout out
Patsy Kojans. Or maybe I hit up I can't remember, or maybe you even passed along that I was interested in working on the project with them.
Yeah.
And they were like, oh, what? Yeah, let's get Tinnean here.
Please have him be a part of this.
I did an extremely small role, right? In the show. I was just like a soldier who was getting his photograph taken, which he knew was like the last photo that was ever going to be taken of him. He just knew in his heart that this is it. I'm going to die in this war. And it was a really moving scene, and I nailed it apparently, because people that were at the show, that saw the show, were like, who is this guy and how can we get him into more theater? And so Bob Hall, who was directing the Haymarket Theater, I think it was called at the time, that's not even there anymore, he reached out to me to start doing shows. And then Nebraska Repertoire Theater reached out to me to audition for stuff, and so I did 2 shows for them. I got paid for the first time in my life to do some acting gigs. And I was like, this is incredible. So I did take a little hiatus, and then I moved out of Lincoln. And when I moved to Phoenix, I auditioned for like a commercial for Adobe or something like that. And so I was in a like online Adobe ad, which I actually have never seen. I don't know where it's at. I know I got a check for like $175 and was like, yeah, I'm a paid actor, baby. Yeah. And then I just kind of took another hiatus because I had a kid. And I'll celebrate 10 years of fatherhood on Saturday. So that's,
congrats. You did it.
Yeah,
you're doing it still, but
I'm stoked. Yeah. The parenthood is, we can talk, I guess, more about this later on or whatever, but so it is this has been a natural, I wish I would have taken people's encouragement much earlier on, and gotten into this space like much earlier on, I think, if that was the case. Because what I've seen so far is that really like longevity is what will get you the career that you want in this field, right? Like people get into it. I'm auditioning against hundreds of people every single time, 50 people, hundreds of people, whatever. Every single time I submit an audition, I know there's another 30 or 40 or whatever these people have to listen to. But in a year's time, it may still be 30 or 40 or 50 or 100 people that I'm auditioning against, but only 5 or 6 or 10 or 12 of those people are going to be the same people that I've been competing against, right? And by that time, my voice is there. It's out there. Somebody's heard it. And recently I got
if it's
declined.
Not getting you this job, it's getting you another job. Yeah.
I got declined for a job I auditioned for. They kind of put me in the like final, selection process or whatever. They went a different direction, but they were like, we really want to use you in the future. And so we'll privately invite you to these auditions the next time that we have something available. So just knowing that as long as I stick around and as long as I'm here in the space and doing the work, then I probably will have, a career that is overshadowing my real job at some point. So that's the goal.
And this is kind of what I was trying to like articulate this earlier. You're saying like, oh, I wish I had some of that drive. You still do. You're doing it right now. Like you don't realize it. You're doing it right now. You're taking on something like this that's like loosely in your skill set, but that you're going to have to learn a lot about. People don't do it. Yeah. They look at what they have to learn and they're like, fuck this. I give up before I even start. I don't even want to open this book. But you look at books like that and you're like, all right, let's read this shit. Like no pun intended, but right. That's, and even like you see the panels behind you, that was a thing that you didn't know about. And then you learned about it. And then all of a sudden you were like mass producing sound treatment for your room. But, like this, you have that ambition. You've always had that ambition. And that is the one thing a lot of people don't have, is like literally the ambition to start doing something. But then you possess the ability to remain consistent with stuff that most people just won't. And, I know you've taken hiatuses, but acting has always been a part of your life, and maybe
Totally.
at some points it was like more important or less important from whatever your priorities were.
Yeah.
And to be fair, your priorities have always been in the right spot. Like when family needs to take over, you have zero problem being like, it's family time now.
I would agree.
I'll deal with this nonsense later.
Mm-hmm.
So it might be difficult for you to see that because you're in the middle of it, but at least from the outside perspective, that's why I was so stoked when you told me you were starting to do this, because I was like, oh, you're going to succeed.
Yeah.
At some point with anything really, especially creative shit, it's just consistency.
That's it.
How long can you do it? And if you do it for longer than your contemporaries do it, all of a sudden you're now just like you're talking about, you filter to the top by virtue of everyone else gave up. It got hard and everyone else quit.
Yeah. And you see things all the time. Like when I talked to Patsy Kojans when I first moved here, and she was like, she many times had told me this story about how Morgan Freeman didn't get famous till he was like 45 years old, and he'd been grinding away for decades, right? Like look at the guy from Severance on Apple TV, that
Adam
show.
Scott.
Not Adam Scott, but the guy who just won an Oscar or Emmy for supporting character. The guy who plays Milchick in the show.
Oh, yeah. I can't remember his name, but I know who you're talking about.
He's been trying to break through forever, for decades, and now he's here, right? So it's really
Steve Buscemi, too. Steve Buscemi worked for the FDNY, the fire department in New York, until he was 40, and then he quit, and his first movie was fucking Pulp Fiction.
That's great.
Like there is you create your own trajectory here, and it's just so easy to get lost in like comparing yourself to other people. I'm like, oh, I haven't made this arbitrary benchmark by this point, so I'm failing. And it's like everyone's, this might be a little bit of a divergence, but at least you didn't fall to the very typical stereotype or trope of voiceover acting. See, what usually happens is somebody wants to be an actor, so they move to LA or some other big market, right? And then they realize, fuck, I'm not going to be able to do that. Let me try and do theater. Yeah, I'll just be really good at theater. But then they're like, oh, fuck, this isn't going to make me enough money, or it's not going to scratch the itch. I'll go into stand-up comedy. Oh, yeah, I'll do that. And then that just doesn't pan out. And then they're like, you know what? Improv. I'm going to do improv. I'm going to be an improv person. And then that doesn't work out or pay the bills. And then comes voiceover. And you skipped a lot of the nonsense. Yeah. Where you were like, and it's kind of the same. I did the same thing, like moving to Nashville and seeing the music business. I was like, this fucking sucks. I don't want this. I would meet people who by my standards would be, they won all the awards. They had a bunch of money, but they really didn't have a lot of money because they were always itching for another job. They needed it. I have all this shit now. I have to pay for it. I need to keep getting jobs.
Yeah.
Or even like the awards, you get a Grammy, but you have to pay to be a part of the Grammy committee. And that costs dues every year in order to keep the trophy and for them to keep your name.
Keep the trophy. Wow.
Yeah. As a winner of that award, you have to pay dues every year. It's how those things stay in business. So I don't know. To me, it just, I looked at it and I was like, this is a fucking joke. This will take what I love to do and kill it.
Yeah.
And then I'll be stuck doing this thing that I now fucking hate.
Yeah.
And it's just not worth it. But you kind of skipped, again, just by naturally prioritizing your life, unfolding it the way that you wanted to. You've now crafted a situation where you can do this, and it doesn't disrupt the cash flow. It doesn't disrupt the time with your family. It doesn't disrupt your life in anything. It just adds an extra layer of curiosity to your life, a new thing to learn. I'm interested if you can kind of like speak on what the benefits of this has kind of added to you creative, like as an outlet, how this is.
Yeah. I mean, I have been itching to be more creative, like we talked about. I'm naturally just in that space. I was born to be in spaces like this. And I I think times as a father, you get to do it. Like you get to play and imagine and goof off with your kids, but that's not, while it is fulfilling, it's not for someone who is like in their heart of hearts, a performer, an entertainer, a creative, to not do it. And like, and I'm not really like, I don't care about, if I get accolades or awards or anything like that. I definitely want money. That's why I'm mostly doing this, right? Like because I'm good at it, naturally good at it, but also like I'm trying to supplement, all the other things that I have in my life that I'd rather just not pay for with my regular income. But the benefit that I've gotten so far is, now I know how to produce audio kind of well. I could, if I wanted to no longer narrate things or put my voice out there, I could become just an audio engineer. I could just become a producer of stuff. I can now, my editing skills are much better. My processing skills are much better, and they're only getting better, right? I'm still learning. I'm still trying to educate myself. Because I've only produced my own audio and I've only produced voice so far. I haven't really done a lot with music in the background or sound effects or anything like that. So I'm getting more into that space, and, I'm musically inclined. I don't know how much talent I still have or, how much I need to work on it, but there's also like the space for just making music and recording music, that I now have a better ability to grasp and do. I think about soundtracks like all the time. I always think about, man, how cool it'd be to like make a soundtrack. Well, I've now set myself up in a place where I could honestly do that if I wanted to. I got a MIDI keyboard, I got a keyboard, I got a guitar, I got drums in the house. Like I got my kids in drum and,
you got
guitar
the band.
lessons.
Yeah, you got
like
the
I got
band
a band, right? All I need is a bass. But even then, my oldest son is like, watching me do this stuff. And he's like, how can I edit for you? Can I do this? And I'm like, yeah, I guess maybe you could. Like, so now I'm setting up a skill set for my kids that they can have that will take them, could take them to places that I maybe will never get to, or maybe I will get to, but maybe even beyond that. So, I think that's probably one of the benefits I've really seen recently is like my kids are interested in wanting to get in. And so like now I have all of my normal files in a separate, space for just my kid to go in and cut things down. And when he sees the, clicks that I have in there to listen and decide which take sounds better and kind of piece it all together. And like, they like recording, they like getting in the booth and saying whatever they want to say or talking about a specific thing, right?
Yeah,
so
what kid wouldn't?
My oldest one is having to do like PowerPoint presentations now, and so we're working on like being able to record stuff, him like narrating the PowerPoint presentation and just putting that in there as opposed to him having to like speak while he's, showing the presentation. So I would say those have been some pretty big benefits, and just, acquiring better skill sets. And even just like acquiring, better performance. Like some of the classes are instructionals I've taken, have taught me just a little bit better about pacing in my reading, or emphasizing, the right places, in some sentences. I feel like naturally I have a talent to get most of it right, but sometimes, I listen to something back, I'm like, oh, I shouldn't have emphasized that part of the sentence. I have to go re-record now. And I maybe wouldn't have thought about that had I not gone through some of these more educational experiences. But then I also just like the connection, the network of people that I'm, getting into more contact with, is a benefit, right? So I would say those probably skill set, my kids being interested in it, and the network that I'm creating. It's small right now, but it's longevity will increase that size. So
yeah, absolutely. Consistency. Shit grows with consistency.
Yeah.
And definitely, like, even your kids are stoked because you're stoked.
Yeah.
Like
right?
they see how excited you are about it, and they share in that excitement. They're like, I want some of that.
Yeah.
To me, from my perspective, any of these abilities to, like, the freedom that modern society allows us to like express ourselves creatively is important. For me, it's like fucking crucial. I have to do some of it every day, or else I become my own worst enemy in a lot of ways. Kind of like idle hands, but dumber, you know? But I also just find it like one of those things where it's like, I also get caught and have gotten caught in the trap of like, man, this needs to be making me more money, or I'm not making more money doing this. And I have to consistently remind myself, I'm not doing this. The money is cool.
Yeah.
And the money will come, but I have to make sure that I'm doing this. Like, I don't want to burn myself out. And I also don't want this to be about money. Like, I want to, if I'm working on a record, I don't want to feel like I have to work on a record. If I'm working on my own music, I don't want to feel like it's something I have to do. It should be something I get to do.
Yeah.
And like, it's infinite rabbit holes. So there's definitely times where I feel less inspired sitting down and I'm working on somebody else's shit, but I'm still using that as like time to learn something. Or to get faster at doing something.
Right.
Like, and that's some of the higher order stuff that we talked about. Like, the more you start staring at voiceover waveforms, the more you'll be able to like read the waveform and, or just like quickly hearing something and being like, here's what I need to do to process this to make up for whatever the problem is. Now here's some more context for people that don't know this. I used to do a lot of work for Audible. So I've listened to thousands of hours of voiceover. I've produced, or I guess I shouldn't say produced. I've sound designed, mixed, and mastered thousands of hours of audiobook stuff. So when I was saying before how I would just inundate Jeff with information, I'm interested just from your perspective. Before you knew what I was talking about, when you would see like paragraphs of shit where you're like, what the fuck does this mean? What language is this? And how do I ever learn it? Like what was the aspect of like learning technology? Like, what was the most difficult part of it? And I guess to that, what was also like the most fun or exciting part of learning those skills?
So I guess maybe like on a broad scale of that, just like training my ear to, hear things. And also, like you said, seeing waveforms and realizing like, oh, this, I can just go and do this one thing, or I can just fix this one thing. Cause I see that is probably a pain point. If I listen to it, it probably will come back and confirm my observation. Yeah. But the thing that I got that I really like spent a lot of time in, maybe too much time in, was like the sweeping the cues. That was like, it's talked about, and you talked about it a lot. It's talked about in a lot of other educational stuff I've gone through. But you can get like really bogged down with it, and you can try to take out too many frequencies that sometimes you don't need to really mess with. Like for a while, I was taking out a lot of the bass in my voice. One, I don't think I have a very bassy voice anyway, but I was taking like, it would just come through and be like, I'd have it up, and it's like, well, wait a minute. If I'm blasting this by 10 decibels, like many things are going to sound sound weird, right? Like maybe I don't bring it up as high when I'm sweeping, or maybe I, change the volume or decibel level at which I'm sweeping the cue. And so I think that part there took me the longest, but I mean, we've grown up into technology. Like I consider myself a real fortunate generation that like technology kind of existed, before, like when I was a kid. We had TV, we had VCRs, like DVDs became a thing. Like we had Nintendo, right? The internet became a thing when I was a child. And video, we had VHS cameras, now those became digital, then they became 4K, and, now things are just so...
Our phones.
Yeah, our phones, right? Yeah, exactly, right? Our high definition cameras. So I've always been at least in the technology, and being able to like use it. And I've even like when we were in high school, we did our English, my senior year English class, we read Oliver Twist, and my group decided to do a project that was like a modern day short film, Oliver Twist. And so I had some experience already in like editing film or, syncing the sound with the picture. So some of that I could draw on, but I think I have naturally like a steep learning curve when it comes to something I really want to learn. It doesn't take me a long time to figure that stuff out. And so I don't know if anything was like super difficult to grasp. But there have been times where like, I have an effects chain that I kind of just put on everything right now and just let it ride. But there was a time where I put that effects chain on and it came back, all the sound was like muffled and it was weird. And I was like, that's weird. It's never done this before. I've used this chain dozens of times already, but now it's like coming back in a weird way. So I had to like go through and turn each one off and listen again and figure out which one of these was messing up the whole audio. And I did. It was Fresh Air. That was the one I think that was, or maybe it was DX Pro Revive. I think that's what it was. And people won't maybe know what these are. It doesn't matter. Plugins. Fuck them. Plugins, I think fortunately in the world of just me producing voice over audio, I haven't really gotten to plug in crazy or whatever, because I don't need to affects a snare and compress it, or I don't need to, worry about all these different instruments or bussing. I don't really do a lot of bussing because I have one file and I'm really just editing that one file. So I think I'm fortunate. I think that's helped, but I think as I get into more, production and adding additional things, like I would like to have, like a little chime sound when I say like, narrated or Vox Tinnean Media presents blah, blah, blah book written by blah, blah, blah. But I want like a nice little like opening, horn, not a horn, but some kind of nice
sonic
calling card. Yeah, exactly. There you go. That's a great term for it. But I haven't done that yet because I'm like, fuck, I don't know how to do it, or what am I going to use, or what am I going to record from or into? So I'm kind of figuring that stuff out. That's been, I think, as I'm starting to add, like I just produced my first like commercial demo a few weeks ago, and I thought it sounded great in my monitors. I was like, oh, this is nice. Like I have the right levels. It sounds good. I loaded it up to the website, played it back in my headphones. Sound great. And then I was like showing my fiance the next morning. I was like, I'll check it out. I finally, put my demo together, and we're listening to it, but on my phone. And this is just like limitation of your phone, really. But it was just basically my voice, and the music was really quiet. Yeah. And there was one part that's like a hospital ad, and with the music, I think the care and concern of my voice came through better. But when there was no music, it just sounded way too loud. And like I wasn't in that like care and concern hospital voice. At St. Jude's, we care about you. It was more like, at St. Jude's, we care about you. But it's like the music's not there. Oh, shit. So that's kind of, that's been, I think, one of the harder points, is putting multiple audio files together to make something that sounds sonically pleasing. But again, I feel like I'm coming along, and in a month's time, we'll talk and I'll say, listen to this. Well, that was going to kind of be my next, that was going to be my next question, is like, what were their Eureka moments? Like every plateau has like a moment where you're like, oh, now I get it. I think honestly, my first Eureka moment, my biggest one so far, was I finally, I think I'd gotten, who makes like Pro C and, what's that effects company?
Fab Filter,
right? So I got a whole Fab Filter suite, I think, after a conversation you and I had.
Shout out Fab Filter.
Shout out Fab Filter. Yeah. None of the, no plugin I mentioned today sponsors me or pays me for mentioning them. But if I do mention them, it's because I do, think they're a quality plugin. So FabFilter does make some very quality plugins. I like their EQ quite a bit. I like their compressor quite a bit. They have some other ones I haven't even used it in the suite, but I don't think I need much of them. So, but I got that suite. I started reprocessing my audio, and I got to a point I was like, I think this sounds overproduced. This doesn't sound good. This is not, I think, at pro quality. And so I sent it to you and was like, here's the raw, here's what I produced. Can you give me any pointers? And for a professional audio engineer to say, no, this doesn't sound overproduced, this sounds correctly produced, I was like, oh shit, okay. I was overthinking it, or I just don't have enough, basis of pro quality audio that I'm listening to, I think, on a more regular basis. It is weird now because I will hear things like I'll be watching a TV show and I think, was it Smoke on Apple? But there was a couple points in a show that I was watching where like all of a sudden the audio, it sounded like they had to come and re-record something for
ADR.
Yeah, and they didn't
replacement.
They didn't do it in a space that most of it is done. Like it sounded like they did it outside, and you're like, well, that was weird. Why? Like literally, this 30-second monologue in this entire that has sounded fantastic the whole time. I've never had been like, whoa. It was like, whoa, what the hell? Why does that sound so different? Like, so I noticed that stuff more, I think. So that's been another benefit, I guess, is I note I have like a better ear for listening to sound.
You're refining that. Yeah.
Yeah. So, but I probably, like, I don't listen to a ton of audiobooks. I had an Audible subscription for a while, so I get a credit every month. And every 6 months, I like crowdsource, like, what are some books I should get, guys? Because but even some of the ones that I like listening to, like, aren't the best audio quality sometimes. And like sometimes it's like I want to get this book because I know it's good on audiobook, but then the quality is very poor, and I'm like, I can't listen to this at all. It's driving me crazy.
Well, that's you're talking about two points that I want to touch on. The first one is you don't know what you don't know. I mean, I definitely suffered from that for a while, and like even before I started to mix audiobooks, I did a lot of editing, so I had an idea of what a singular track of audio would sound like, right?
Yeah.
And then when I started to mix audiobooks, I would mix them like records, but you can't mix them like records. And there were a bunch of things that I just didn't get until I started listening to what would be considered like top tier A+ releases in audiobooks or podcasts. And then you're like, oh, and then also comes the other half of that is you realize how shit most stuff sounds, and you're like, oh, okay, well, I'm not that, I don't want it to sound like this, and it's already sounding better in some ways, so if I keep kind of just doing what I'm trying to do, it's going to end up sounding better than most of the shit. I remember telling you this a bunch, but like there were definitely books I worked on where the people recorded their voiceover in their car while it was raining, with their, with their iPhone headphones that come with the phone or used to come with the phone. So you don't know what you don't know. And if you haven't heard a ton of it, you might listen to it and be like, yeah, this is way too overproduced. And two, there's another thing too, in like digital land, there's loudness and how you measure loudness. Coming out of a speaker or in a room, you might use a decibel meter for like loudness or dynamics. You might have an RMS meter, which is an electrical signal, but it's an average of the output. In digital, it's different. And, listening, if you mix something in one scenario and don't really take into consideration that people are going to listen to it on other things, by the time it gets to the other things, it doesn't sound anything like what it sounded like on your system, And if you were to listen to something that was mixed for delivery across all of those mediums or platforms, you'd be like, this on your system even. You'd be like, this sounds like shit. Yeah. But it's not, you're just not used to hearing it. And it might sound very aggressive, but it's very aggressive so that when you listen to it on your phone or on your laptop, or your nice system with good speakers, it scales appropriately. and you can still hear everything,
right.
and for, depending on what you're listening on. So
I think, and I would say, to that point then, to say like what's been the toughest part is EQ was super tough, I think, at first. I feel like I have a much better grasp of it now, equalizing. But like using, like Audible or ACX, whatever, they're an RMS based platform. Like that's one of their specs. You have to have it at this, no higher than this dB, and your RMS has to be between these numbers. Whereas like if I'm going to mix and master something for like a commercial audition, those people are generally wanting like your LUFS to be at a certain point. And figuring out like compression was also something I think that I don't struggle with anymore, but I still don't fully grasp sometimes.
Mysterious, yeah.
Like I'll compress something and I'll hit, negative 3 dB or negative 3.1 because I like to leave a little room. And then it's at negative 17 RMS. I'm like, what the fuck? Like, I can't have 17. I need 18 or between 18 and 24 for this ACX thing. How did I compress wrong, or what's going on here? So compression sometimes I think still gets me. EQ, not so much anymore. But like figuring out really what I'm doing and how that impacts RMS, or figuring out how that technically impacts LUFS, that's still something I am learning. I don't know if I would say I struggle with it, and I'm more confident more often than I'm not confident in it, but it's still a thing that I'm like, it's sometimes too technical, and I don't even need to know really like the technicality of it. Like if I can get it in the range that sounds good and it's in the right spec, I really don't care what the technicality of that particular reading means, because I just want it to sound good, right? I mean, that's really like, I think what it comes down to a lot is if you can make it sound good, whatever you're doing to process the audio in your EQ or your compression, like you get to the point where you like how it sounds, and that's it. Like it probably will fall into the spec you need if it sounds good. Which I generally have found is correct. Like if I listen to something, I'm like, oh, I don't know. I don't really like this. It might be in the spec, but I could fix it a little bit. And when I do fix it, it's still in the spec and it sounds better. It sounds the way I want it to sound. When it's out of spec, I can tell now sometimes like, oh God, yeah, this is just like way too loud
wildly
all the time.
Off target.
Yeah. Right. So, that's been the things I think that I've struggled with learning the most. But even then, again, I feel personally like I have a pretty steep learning curve and figure that stuff out pretty quickly. And when I can't figure it out, I have incredible friends and resources like James, who I reach out to and say, hey man, something's weird here. I don't really understand what I'm doing or what's going on. And you can look at it and be like, oh yeah, well, blah, 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 blah. Here it is. Here's the like pinpointed part of, what you maybe want to try doing, right? And you're, I think, really good about what I've really enjoyed about our like friendship and our like, I would call this in my own personal experience like a mentorship from you. You're kind of a mentor to me in this space, is that you are not super forthcoming with like what the actual answer is, because kind of in this space there's not always a specific answer. There's multiple ways we could get
areas of gray,
right?
Yeah,
there is, but you're good at like pointing me into places where I can then kind of goof around or tinker around and find the sound that I now am looking for, and you're really good at that. I really have appreciated in many of our conversations or correspondences back and forth, where you just kind of put me in a better mindset, or put me in the right mindset to look at something, to then tinker around and figure out, okay, this is why I'm getting this sound, or this is why I'm not getting this sound, and here's what I can maybe do, or maybe I can try this, or maybe I can try this. And that is good because I'm learning more about these specific aspects of producing the audio. And it's definitely better for me than just getting like, oh, you should just, go in and put a limiter on and set it to this and then let it, see if that works. And it's like, oh, okay, I'll try that. But if it doesn't work, then it's like, I need another answer.
What do I do?
Right?
How do I figure this out? Yeah.
So you give a very good, like, ways to get to a place that I want to be without telling me like, do this.
I am incredibly honored that you view that as kind of like a mentorship. I personally look at it as a collaboration. And in some ways, it's like repaying you for all the times you did that for me when we were growing up.
That's fair. That's fair. I like that.
But I was always super excited when you started talking to me about this, because I was like, here's somebody who I can get granular. Most people, when they contact me for audio shit, I'll do the same thing. I'll be like, well, I can't see what you're seeing, so I'm just going to guess that it's one of these couple things. You're going to have to figure that out, because I can't see what you're seeing. And it's like pulling teeth. Like either they won't understand it, or they'll ask, like, even sometimes going to like, I have to schedule some kind of video call with them so I can see what they're seeing.
Yeah.
But you're the kind of person who I feel very confident if I give you a couple options, not only are you going to try them, you're going to use some critical thinking and be like, oh, this is because this is part of it. And especially like you're fortunate in the sense that you have complete control over the quality of the audio that you produce.
Yeah.
When other people start sending you audio, like, you know, you have no say in that, and you have to take all these different sources and critically think, how do I make them all sound like they were recorded in the same scenario, or sound like they're in the same. So that's a part of this that people it's like this critical problem solving that is and it's the same thing for people who do video shit. But in audio, like that's the skill that's beneficial. That's the one that gets you work, is because you're able to critically solve a problem. Doesn't matter how you do it. And there's another point in what you were saying is like, as long as you get it to sound right, it doesn't fucking matter what the plugins look like.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter. None of that shit. What does it sound like? Listen, when I went to school for this, all my teachers would be like, guys, you're looking at the screen too much. Listen, what does it sound like?
Yeah.
It doesn't matter what it looks like. It only matters what it sounds like. So,
yeah. And there's, excellent engineers and producers that can just use base plugins from any DAW and pretty nearly replicate the production of audio they want using the like souped up plugins that they use on a regular basis. Like just having that skill set. And that's like something I think I will probably start my kids out on, is like using bass plugins, seeing if they can figure that part out, and then being like, okay, well, here's this EQ that actually does like way cool shit, bro, that I can't even believe. Like the Fab Filter EQ is, I think, one of the coolest EQs I've ever seen. Just like the different like widths of decibel you can put on to a certain like frequency or a range of frequency that you want to attenuate or whatnot, has been just like I think that's been like one of my most favorite parts of processing audio, is like learning how to produce the like through a telephone sound, or different types of sound. So that's been, I'm enjoying it immensely, and it's still fun. I mean, I've been doing it for, we'll say, a year, like actual time, like in the booth and at the computer. But it's been, I'm excited to just get better at it and be able to then work with other audiobook narrators or commercial voiceover actors and produce their audio, or at least mix and master their audio, I guess. In ways
I guess that would be another question. Like, okay, so let's say, how in your mind, like, what's the golden scenario of how this evolves? Like, does this turn into you just kind of being your own guy and producing everything in house and just trying to get better and better titles from better and better authors? Or is it like you get to a certain point, you're like, okay, maybe I want to step back a bit from that and be more, I know the whole process, and now I can work with other people in whatever way they need me within that process. And I'm I think
is more the goal, is to like really
in the booth.
Yeah. I think the goal is to build Vox Tinnean to a point where I can just like hire on maybe a full-time engineer, or I can train my kid to do it mostly well, so then I can have him
even better,
right?
Yeah.
But that gives him I can pay him to do it, and that sets him up.
And he's learning a skill.
He's learning a skill,
yeah.
super valuable skill. And he's, he could put money away for his retirement at 12, 13, 14, 15 years old, or 10 years old, or whatever, right? But also there's times where I'm just out and about in the world, and I'm hearing people talk, or I'm having conversations with people, and I'm like, God, they have a nice voice. They have a nice voice that I think could be used. And so I'd like to be at a point where I could say, hey, look, I have this, media production company. I think you'd be a, pretty talented or stellar voice actor if it's something you're interested in. Have you come record, try to send some auditions out. We can just do this until, it picks up. And if it doesn't, then that's okay. It's not, you didn't pay for the studio time.
No foul.
I'm not taking a huge cut of whatever you're making, right? I think that you just be good at. There's a kid that bags groceries at my grocery store, and he's a 25-year-old, 26, maybe, I don't know, adult. But this kid, while he's bagging groceries, he's an adult. I don't know why I keep calling him kid. But while he bags your groceries, he's constantly repeating scenes from movies or TV shows or cartoons, and he's doing all the voices. And he has and I'm like, this kid could make probably some decent money doing video game narration or cartoon animation. I would love, but I don't know what his mental capacity is to be able to go and record. But he's somebody I'm I'd love to tap that kid to try to get him into that space, because he's just bagging groceries and wrangling carts right now at the grocery store, which is a fine job. Totally. I don't mean to to disparage anything.
I work that job.
But
it's a
I
great
think
job.
he could be a successful voice actor if he also has the mental capacity. He seems like he has the ambition or will to work and has a good work ethic. But he's also constantly reciting movies and TV shows. So something is could he, does he have the capacity to be able to do this on a frequent basis? Or is he just somebody who has all these TV shows and movies in his head and he just has to get them out, and this is how he does it, right? Could he replicate that in his own creative way, that he gives a voice to a character he's never heard before, right? Or something like that. So I think he's great at imitation, but is he good at creation or, recreation, and using that to voice an entirely new character or whatnot? But I think ultimately I would like to have, an in-house, studio. I think at some point I'd like to have my own studio space, whether it's in a new house that we build in the future. I'd like to get out of my closet. I'd like to have something that's a little cooler to be in most of the time. I've tried bowls of ice in there, but I'm worried that moisture is going to mess with my mic. So I cut that pretty quickly. I think somebody recommended me putting on a wet t-shirt while I'm in there, a cold, wet t-shirt. I'm I guess that's interesting, but I also don't want to be sitting there in a fucking soaking t-shirt on my body. So, I think ultimately the goal is, have, a production studio where I'm not just doing my own voiceover, audiobook narration or commercial stuff, but we're doing, we're producing commercials for companies. I think one thing I always wanted to get into was advertising. I always thought I had a good mind for thinking of ads or creating ads or trying to, but the selling people stuff, especially stuff that they don't need, has always been something that doesn't really sit well with me as my own personal career. If you're an advertiser, that's fantastic. If you're a marketer, that's fantastic. That's great. But being being a financial consultant and trying to get people into products that maybe are beneficial to them, but selling people stuff they don't need is always I don't know. It's just not for me. People have always said you'd be great at sales. And I'm would I though? Cause if somebody tells me like,
at night?
Could I sleep at night? And that's not that like every salesperson is shady or whatever, but it does take a level of like gray area once in a while to do that job really well and really consistently. And I would be impressed to find many extremely good salespeople that weren't selling people stuff they don't, like every person they've made money off of directly benefited from the thing they got, right? It's a lot of times they're thinking more about the stress of their own pocketbooks that they have to, how can I turn this person into a client? How can I turn this person into a client? How can I make a buck off of this person? And I just never want to like live or be like that. But I would like to be in a space where, maybe we're, and this is, 5-10 years down the road, but, creating soundtracks for short films or for movies or producing commercials, for companies. And I have like a roster of voice actors that either do audiobooks or do commercials. So those are bigger goals that are really far out. But the way that I have always, I think, moved and just like built relationships with people in every working capacity I've ever had, I think is something that benefits me in a way that would allow for that possibility to happen, especially if I started getting just more work and got busier doing the work I would. It would just afford me the opportunity to kind of bring that type of stuff in. The space I don't think I'll ever want to get into is like education space as far as this goes. Like, I'm fine with sharing information with people. I'm definitely somebody who doesn't think like gatekeeping is cool. Like anything I've learned and somebody's asking me, I'm happy to help them and figure things out or teach them because the people that have taught me have done that same thing, right? You've given me a plethora of knowledge at no expense, right, to either of us. And so that kind of stuff, but like the courses that I take right now with like closingcredits.com, I wouldn't want to be in that space teaching people how to do this stuff like on a regular basis. That's just an avenue I don't think that I would want to go into, but maybe, I don't know, maybe there's somebody could convince me otherwise. But I do enjoy,
it doesn't, you don't need to enjoy every single aspect of this, and definitely like as what I started learning this shit for is not what I use it for.
Yeah.
And I'm glad like I learned these skills and I saw the things I could do. And I was like, oh, I like other people like this, this, and this, but I like this, this, and this. So those people will do that and I will do this that. There is enough flexibility here it's good to know how all the steps in the chain work from recording voiceover to delivering finalized audio.
Yeah.
Do you need to like every one of those steps? No. And definitely like the higher level of this shit is seeing the stuff that you like and then being able to just do that and not really have to do, like, let's say at some point you get sick of voiceover. Well, then you have a number of other people who, if somebody sends you something to get read, you know who's going to read it. You send it to them. They send you the audio back because maybe they don't like mixing it, but you've really started to like enjoy doing that. I mean, this isn't, with the way media is going, that's like actually a pretty reasonable take on like how this could evolve.
As long as AI doesn't take over all of it, which
it won't. It
can't,
won't.
Right? There is a human element that's necessary.
And there it will be there. It will be a factor.
It's there. It's here now.
I don't. Yeah. It's right. It's exactly right. It's not getting less than what it is now.
It would be if we ignored it, if we stopped sharing, if we stopped interacting with it, if we stopped engaging with it. That we would,
but we can't do that.
Right?
We can't.
You're right.
Humans can't do that because AI makes things easy. Yeah.
Yeah. Totally.
I mean, dude, I this not to get too heady with this, but there exist right now these gimmicky websites where you can send audio and then a computer will process that audio, but it will like control a robot's arm that's passing it through real audio equipment, but it's all kind of AI. There's a bunch of like AI audio production stuff, and definitely the people in the audio production world are like scared But I'm going to say the same thing I say about technology. Like when technology came around, everyone was like, music's over. It's done. We can't record it on records anymore. It's over. No one's going to want to listen to this digital shit. And now nothing is made without, nothing is made.
Hardly analog, bro. Hardly.
It is digitized at some point in the chain, period. Yeah. And I don't think, if you listen to a lot of older records that were made on analog, they sound like shit compared to what we can do.
Like it definitely improved the sound of audio quality.
It's just getting better. It's just getting better. So I'll say the same thing that I said then. It's like, it's not going to completely erase people doing this work. It's just going to save people thousands of clicks.
Yeah.
And to be honest with you, the more comfortable you get with integrating some level of AI into your workflow, the better, because it's not going anywhere.
Yeah, right.
And
I mean, I use it in my noise floor plugin, right? I mean, that's that's AI.
That's a great application for it.
Right?
That's
absolutely
a genius application.
Yeah. Like one of the plugins I have even will, I can just it will auto EQ it for me, or AI EQ it. And sometimes it sounds kind of good, but sometimes I'm like, actually, I don't like this at all. But what it is doing, and when it does sound good, is I can see what it EQ'd. I can see where it attenuated. I can see where it made something louder or pulled a frequency down. And it's like, oh, okay. That's way quicker learning than I would take to sweep cues all day long and try to figure that out. Right.
Yeah.
So in those spaces, I think, we're definitely I think engaging more with just, give me a short film with all of these, here's the things, right? And it's just AI creates all of it. And you're like, oh, geez, that's the stuff I wish people would stop engaging with, so that human beings can be the creative. We can tell the stories. We can showcase our own imagination. But some people don't have the skill set or the money to get that stuff produced. And so it is a double-edged sword, because it does provide more people the ability to think about something or imagine something and have it become a tangible type of medium. And it does suck for an artist who spent their whole life and gone to school to draw and learn animation, to have some, schlub be like, okay, I want a movie that looks like this. And it's like, okay, here it is. Boom. Done. 35 seconds. And this AI created your whole 5-minute film that you wanted to put together. And it's like, this would have cost you, what, $50,000 maybe to get all the pieces you need in order to do this.
Yeah.
And who's spending $50,000 right now in this economy on anything, right? So I do enjoy that there is an aspect that is making it easier for people that want to create and be creative. But you have signed AI recording artists now. You have an actor that people are trying to represent as an agent. What the hell are we doing? That's not what we need. We don't need that. We have plenty of people to make music. We have plenty of people to sing. We have plenty of people to act.
Yeah, right.
We don't need AI actors. And I just won't engage those types of the media, right? Me personally. And I hope that more people just adopt that. But
to you and I, that makes sense. But to a record label or a movie studio, it's, you're telling me we don't have to pay a human?
Yeah.
You mean we get to save money and maximize output for our investors? I think what's going to happen with that is all gimmicky shit, clearly.
Yeah.
And I think that no human really wants to engage. There's a very slim percentage of human beings that want to engage with that level of dehumanized art, for sure.
Good.
But that also being said, I just don't think the AI will ever, even if it's AI, a human has to steer it.
Yeah.
like the AI isn't doing this shit itself. Like a human is steering it. And I do see a scenario where people who are inclined to art and expressing themselves creatively through a medium, who really like apply that same approach to AI and then create some of the coolest shit. And like, if an artist is using AI to generate art, is that still art? Like if that's the explicit intent as this artist, I want to use this specific type of language in the prompts to generate these certain things. That's the art project. So, to me, that would also be cool if or like Banksy used AI to generate something like that. The novelty of that might be like, oh, cool. But it's because a human was involved in it.
Exactly.
The AI was just like a tool that they used. So, I don't know. Like I understand why people get afraid of it or scared, but I just think that there's still going to be a human involved in it in some part of the process. And, I don't know, like I use AI tools for all sorts of shit, but it doesn't think for me.
Right.
I still have to think. I might use AI to help me like reformat text or help me, I use it with clip editing. Like it'll get me into the ballpark of a clip. I still have to edit it because the AI fucks it up.
Yeah, right.
But it saves me an hour of cutting down all this other shit to get this minute to work on. So I don't know.
I don't
know. It's interesting. And especially you, like that's so dope that you're getting your kids on this. Like not only just to have like an extra set of hands, but just kind of teaching them this skill when they really they have the abundance of freedom and time.
Yeah.
And like, if they spend enough time doing this at this age, by the time they go out as an adult into the world, they're already going to possess more skills in and around that field than most people.
Because there's still so much tediousness to this. Like as much AI as we have, I can't get it to go in and just, hey, every time there's a break that's longer than this amount of time, shorten it to this. Every single one of them. I want it all. And in an hour's worth of audio, I want you to go, and every time you have this thing that rises above 0 dB, because I'm clicking, using my dog clicker to say I made a mistake, I need you to go in, clip that out, and use the track after it, or use the record after it, right? There's nothing that does that for me. There's still, I want to, I have all these peaks, and they're a little bit higher than I want them to be, but they're all throughout the audio. I can't just be like, hey, just find these peaks and cut those down only, right? Like compressing to do that still takes me, the human element. Like I have to go in and tediously do each one so that when I do raise it all to -3, those ones that I had, the 7 or 8 or 9 or 10 of them that I had, aren't the ones that are getting raised to -3. So everything else doesn't really get raised that much,
Yeah.
Like that tediousness still exists. I would like AI for that. I would, honestly. Like, hey, everything that's above this, go and
that's what I mean.
Bring it
like
down
that,
so then I can move it all up together.
In terms of audio, personally, that's where I see that is going.
Yeah.
And there are a ton of very similar AI tools that exist for video. Like in Premiere, if I filmed a podcast with 5 cameras in a location, I could put all 5 cameras into a timeline and tell Premiere this is a podcast, and it will edit it.
Like a podcast.
Cut from camera to camera.
That's cool.
Dynamically.
That's cool.
And someone's still going to have to quality control that.
Yeah, totally.
Someone is still going to have to watch through and make sure that it highlighted the right video with the person who is talking while they're talking.
Right.
But that just saved someone thousands
8 hours.
of clicks and 8 hours of editing. Yeah.
Right.
So, I think that is the appropriate way to like wrap your head around this too, is like when those tools exist, then I'll give a shit.
Yeah.
When those tools exist, when something that comes out that actually does benefit a human doing this, like no one's going to want to listen to the podcast that was edited by AI, and every time there's like the slight click or glitch, the audio's cut out.
Yeah.
The AI is going to fuck that up every single time. It's not going to get everything right. You need like the human critical ear.
Yeah. Like if I know like a news article, like sometimes they'll have an option to like, you can listen to the article if I know that that's an AI voice, I'm like, fuck this. I'm not listening to this shit. Like, no, I'm not supporting that. I'm not doing this. Yeah. No, like, why didn't you pay somebody to read this for you? And I get it. You know, media.
That's exactly why.
Not a very profitable business, it seems like.
No.
And it's cheaper, but it's like, I don't want, I think Spotify, before I canceled them, last year when my Wrapped, they gave you a feature that was like a podcast about your Wrapped, your year in review, but it was all AI generated, like hosts of this podcast. I was like, what the hell? No, dude. Like, and I get it's a cool feature, and people are probably like, oh, this is so fun to listen to, but it's like, no, I don't. You could have just paid somebody $50 to record this, like,
or just not had done it at all.
Right? Exactly.
Spotify. I don't need to hear a podcast about what I listen to.
Yeah,
that's like,
I know what I listen to.
I know what I listen to.
Yeah, right. So,
yeah, but Google has one of those too. Google Notebook. You can like feed it web pages or YouTube videos, and instead of giving you a summary, it will give you an AI podcast with two. But like, you can tell instantly.
Yeah.
And even the AI, like all the AI, the shit is just trained off of humans. Like, it's
right.
Always
I have auditions for that stuff all the time
humans.
on voices.com or Backstage. It's like, we're trying to teach a large language model. And it's like, they're going to pay you $76,000, to record however an hour of audio or whatever it is. And like, they're going to use it into perpetuity or whatever. It's like, dang, that's kind of enticing. Right? Like, it's kind of enticing for me to audition and use my voice for an AI program to then, figure out how humans speak. But it's like, also, like you did a podcast recently with Swerve that you guys talked about how, there's AI that like listens to human voice to determine like threat or non-threat, or like, do I want to participate in that? Yeah, I don't think so. I'm not sure, right? That's where my gray areas get a little less gray and are more like, nah, I don't think that I want to be somebody who contributes to that. But somebody's going to take that job. So
100%.
Fuck, why not me? Why am I so... I think that's always been a fear of my life, is like not turning into this like old curmudgeon that's like not with the times, like, fuck, if this is the times, I probably should just get with it, right? But at the same time, is it really beneficial? I don't know. It's a weird paradigm shift to be involved in.
I don't know if we're at the point, like, because effectively when you're offering your voice to something like that, you're surrendering your voice.
Yeah.
Like, it's no longer, who knows what that's going to get used for, and it's no longer your voice.
Yeah.
You don't control it. It's like that scene in The Crucible where your character, John Proctor.
John Proctor, yeah.
He says, but it is my name.
But it is my name, yeah.
There's like this weird meta, and this is like a big debate in the film industry too. Like their fucking mouths are salivating. They're like, you mean we can take video of old dead actors and we can feed it into LLMs, and now we can resurrect them and make them do whatever we want?
Yeah. And
like, the idea of that is definitely horrifying.
Absolutely.
And it's why people are so opposed to it. And even like people who would be the consumers are like, we don't want to see that.
Yeah. Right.
Like that doesn't.
We don't need that.
We don't even want to see poor CGI. Well, like the shit that they do now when they try and resurrect a dead actor. We don't even want to see that. We definitely don't want to see AI versions of our favorite dead actors.
Yeah. I think the only version of that I've seen so far that I was like not grossed out by was the last Alien movie they did. And they used Ian Holm.
With what's his name? Yeah.
But they used him to like be the like AI robot. So it was kind of like, okay, I don't know. This actually is not.
They did, and they did get approval from his estate. His family was cool with it.
Cool,
like, yeah, that's fine. Okay.
But yeah, the ghost of some actor coming back, or even like when they used like what was that Will Smith movie where they kind of like AI'd his face onto another one of him, or so, I don't remember what it's called. It was not done very well. It was pretty bad.
Yeah, no, I remember that.
Gemini Man, I think is that it? Is that it?
Something like that.
That's like, he's alive, and I was like grossed out by that. He's not even.
They tried to make him look younger. Well, okay, so here that's
like the ghost of young Will Smith in a movie with current Will Smith. It was not
so that's like a really interesting take, because that is a good example. Another good example of age regression that got universally panned was in The Irishman, when they regressed De Niro.
Yeah.
And in the movie, it looked really bad, but there were people on YouTube who were like, in 1 hour, I redid that shot and made it look better than they made it. So, I don't know. It just kind of goes back to my point, like, people don't even want to see bad CGI. We'd rather take Robert De Niro in young makeup than like a poorly, and that's, yes, AI will continue to get better and better and better, but it's the same argument to be made about, like, remember when movies use practical effects?
Yeah.
A lot of those movies are debatably better than all these new movies that are 100% CGI. It's like, I don't know. To me, humans are always going to want that.
Yeah.
Humans will always want that
aspect to it.
Maybe there will be people that prefer the digital, and maybe there will be people who will be like 50-50, but ultimately it's always going to resolve back to, are humans going to engage with art made by machines that is ultimately just reinterpreted art that humans made poorly? I don't know.
We'll see.
It's a deep existential question.
It really is. I mean, it kind of is.
Maybe you'll get
a
good book about it. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Maybe that's what I'll do, is write a book. I've read enough of them recently. Maybe it's time to start writing one. And I think that's in the creative space. I think about writing books a lot, or like some kind of novel, fiction novel, things like that. I get these weird ideas.
I think you'd probably be a real good storyteller.
I appreciate that. I'll agree with you.
Even if it was stories that you were just making up, I think you'd be like, that is something that's been like so much a part of your life. I feel like you'd do that pretty well, pretty easily.
I used to do.
Run into
what were those? Did you ever see Animal Wars? Were you around for any of those? I used to reenact. Yeah, so I would just like call from the crowd, give me an animal, and somebody say a penguin, and I'd say, give me another animal, and they say a giraffe, and I'd say, all right, this is what it would look like if a penguin fought a giraffe. And then I would just do both animals, and it was entertaining as hell for a lot of people, and it was a requested parlor trick, I guess I did at parties, or cast parties, things like that. And it went on for a long time, but maybe you weren't there for an Animal War. It got old hat for me after a while. I was like, okay guys, I don't really want to do this.
This is out.
Like, come on. I did, a dozen of these now. You guys have your memories. You come up to me and like, remember when you did the sloth versus the whatever? I'm like, yes, I do. But we don't have to talk about that anymore. But yeah, Animal Wars was fun. It was, just using your imagination, being goofy, performing, entertaining. So yeah, I appreciate that. I probably could tell some good made up stories, and then I can narrate them and not have to pay somebody to do it.
That's the other thing, is like, you can, now that you have this other skills, like I want to write a book, I can immediately turn it into an audiobook. No questions asked.
That's a thing too, is I've recorded stuff for like my loved ones that they've never heard. They won't hear, probably until I die, I think that's the point. I probably should put them in a place where they can access them once I do die.
Definitely.
But right now I just have some recordings, like for my kid's 10th birthday, I did like a whole, just went in the booth and just talked about his life, and just like how being his father has been just like one of the dopest trips. And, not a moment goes by where I don't tell my kids that I love them, or I just love being their father. This is like the dopest trip of my life. But like, one of these days I won't be here, right? And I want them to have things where they can like still visit with me in some weird kind of way. I think that's one thing that this has given me also, is a way to stay connected to the people that I love, even when I'm gone. And maybe that's 10 years from now, maybe it's 50 years. Well, 50 it seems. I'd be 90. I guess I'll be 90 then, because I'll be
sure. Why not?
I'll be 40 in a week. In a week's time, I'll hit the 40-year mark. So
wow, you really did it.
I did it. I'm surviving. And I hear somebody who thought I had dreams as a child and a young man that I was going to die before I was 30. So the day I turned 30 and literally every birthday after this, I'm like, there's no way. Like, I shouldn't be here. I shouldn't be alive anymore. I had dreams. I had premonitions. I was going to die. And like, it was crazy because my boy's mom got pregnant when I was 29, right? And so I was like, oh, fuck, like, I'm supposed to die soon. And now I have a kid on the way, like, oh my God, what am I going to do? You know, I remember talking, it was crazy because I talked to an ex-girlfriend at the time, shortly after I found out I was going to be a father. And like, I don't know how, she just reached out to me on Facebook or something. And so I called her and she told me that she was pregnant. I was like, oh, that's so crazy, you know, because like she brought up my premonitions, my dreams of dying before I was 30. And I was like, well, I fucking hope not now because I'm about to be a father. And she was like, wait, what? And I was like, yeah, I'm also going to have a kid. Isn't this crazy? So that was like a really crazy like situation or phone call. But then, you know, 3 days before I turned 30, my kid was born. You know, I turned 30 3 days after that. And now here we are at 10 and 7. And you are going to be a father soon. So you are...
Up. Yep.
That's crazy, man. You're what, 3 months away from the due date? Is that January? Is that what you said?
November, December. 2
Oh
months
gosh.
now.
Who am I?
Basically,
This must be somebody else having a kid. Yeah, but you're almost there. That's so, oh, dude, I'm so excited for you. Like you and Courtney, I'm so excited for it.
You know, you're talking about all of this and that's another thing I've always definitely admired of just how important you've always made family.
Yeah.
Even before you had your own kids, but definitely after you had kids, like you derive a joy from that most people, even that I know that who really want to be parents, they don't get as much joy out of it as you do. And just kind of hearing you talk about like you want to show your kids giving them a tangible skill. Yes. Audio engineering, voiceover, like anything you can do to show them, you know, we can just use our body and we can use that to pursue our dreams, you know?
Yeah.
But then also just the idea of like, if you want to learn something, you can do it.
Yeah.
If you want to learn how to do something hard, you can do it. It takes time, but we can do that. And you just you commit a little bit of time every day to something and you can do that. And it's like probably the biggest thing I'm concerned about showing my kid. It's the thing that I wish I knew, or I guess I had folded into my psyche earlier in my life. Like if I want to do something, if I want to achieve greatness doing anything, I need to be doing it and it needs to be hard. I need to be learning. That should be a part of a process that we just accept is I want to learn how to do something.
Yeah.
Well, let's get down to the hard work and let's do that hard work. And then, oh, gee, look at that. We learned how to do it. We figured
I'm
out
a pro now, or I'm, you know, in the top 5% of people that do this thing because I've been at it, practicing and doing it for, you know, what do they say? Like if you practice something for an hour a day, after a year's time, you're likely in the top 1% of people who do that thing.
Yep.
Right?
Yep.
If you play violin and you spend an hour a day practicing your violin, in a year's time, you're in the top 1% of violin players in the world, most likely, right? At least maybe for your age group or skill set, whatever, right? And that's hard to get across to a kid. Trust me, I've been trying for a long time.
Well, that's my question is like what you've now gotten them to a point where they think you're cool.
Yeah.
And they know that whatever you're doing is cool. And to be cool, we need to do what dad is doing. So like, what are the tricks or like the insights you can offer to like, when you see that spark really helping it catch on to a flame that then you don't have to maintenance at all. And that it's like they take on themselves.
That's a great question. And I would say that you just lean into it. Right? Like my kid asked me to edit. He wanted to learn how to edit. I didn't say, bro, you could learn how to edit and like work for me. And like, I could basically use you as child labor and make my life easier. Right? I didn't bring any of that up. he was like,
you didn't.
Of course. Yeah. He came into the room and was like, what are you doing? I was like, well, I'm just editing all this audio. I got to cut all this stuff out where I made mistakes, and I got to, then I have to process it and make it sound better. He's like, can I learn how to do that? And I was like, do you want to learn how to do that? He's like, yeah. And so I was like, okay, cool. And it sometimes the faster you lean into it, I think the better it is. But it took a couple weeks. Like, he was only home for 2 days that week. And then he was back at his mom's for 5 days. And so, the next week he came back where he was home for 5 days. It was like, okay, now we can kind of get into this, because if I taught you anything last week, you'd have forgot it already, probably. Right. Or maybe not, because they actually retain a lot of things that they learn. And so just leaning into whatever they tell you they're interested in. I always tell every new parent, though, like, there is literally no manual to this except the one that you write. Like, you get to write your parenting manual. And there are definitely things that experts have written about that are definitely more beneficial psychologically, emotionally, mentally to children than, that the things that people have been doing for hundreds or thousands of years, right? I think today is a great time to be a parent because there's less like corporal punishment. There's less like physical, a lot of people are coming around to the terms that, like, that's child abuse. Like, spanking your kid is child abuse. Like, there's not really any way around it. You can say that you're using it to discipline your child, and that's you saying that, but we can see now from like brain scans and psychological impact and impact as an adult that it's kind of abuse. And you're like, shit, like, if you do that, you have to either just understand that that's it and you're going to be that way, or you then have to reconcile with yourself, like, God, I abused my kid. Like, that's tough. That's super tough. But I think we live in a better time now. And at least, I guess, maybe here, I don't know about the rest of the world, but here it seems more appropriate to try gentle parenting, or, I think that's kind of the term that people use. And it is like, we know so much, right? You and I as adults, we've gone through 30 some odd years of life now. We know a lot. And when we learn things, generally we pick up on things pretty quick now. Kids have no fucking clue, bro. They have no idea. They have no idea what anger is or why they're angry, right? You have to like really coach them and talk to them about it. Like, hey, give them a safe space to be angry or be mad or be loud or be obnoxious, be happy, be joyous, but help them recognize why they're feeling the way they are. That's like one of the things I've really loved about parenting is, my kids will say like, well, this is making me really mad. And I'm like, great. Okay. Let's talk about that. Why do you think you're mad? Where is this coming from? And it's like, well, because you made me feel like this. And it's like, well, let's talk about this further. Because like, one, nobody makes you do anything. Nobody makes you feel this way. You feel this way for a certain reason. And you might be getting more angry because I am talking to you about the thing you did that was wrong, right? The behavior that we need to correct. But really, anger, as you grow older, you learn that anger most of the time stems from disappointment in usually your own expectation of something, right? That was something I learned probably like right before my kid was born. I don't remember the book I read. I wish I did. But that was like a big point of it, was like when you're angry, most of the time your anger stems from disappointment of an expectation that you had about something, right? You expected something to go a certain way and it didn't. And that's why you're angry. Now, was that expectation reasonable or not? That's what you really have to start thinking about. Kids sometimes can understand that. Sometimes they're just like, well, no, I'm just mad.
The fuck are you talking about?
Yeah, right. So it's fun. It's fun. It's just like letting them, so my kids attend a Montessori school. They've been in Montessori school since they were 3 years old or going to school or whatever. And that whole philosophy is like, get the fuck out of the way, let your child develop into who they're going to be. Like, obviously you set up some guardrails, you set up some ways to guide them, but for the most part, man, I let my kids just get into whatever. I try to push them into some things. Like at the moment, I am paying for them to go to music lessons, and I'm trying not to force them to practice because I don't want them to hate doing it or doing it because they have to, but it's part of their chores. So if they want some video game time, They know that they have to, they got to clean the kitchen, sweep them up the kitchen. They got to clean up their room. Maybe they got to clean the bathroom. Maybe got to take out trash or something. But they also have to put in 30 minutes of practice on their instrument, right? And so while they're like, well, that 30 minutes of practicing on your drums got you 2 hours of video game time. So like getting them to understand time and how valuable it is, or just like understand that like you have no problem sitting on an iPad for 3 hours, but
30 minutes of playing
you're crying
the
of
drums
30 minutes for playing the drums. Like, come on, bro. That time is, I got him into sports for a little bit. Like they played soccer for a few years. And this year was the first year we didn't, because my youngest kid last year during the season was like, I don't want to do this anymore. And I was like, well, we're already here and I'm coaching, so you have to finish the season. There's no ifs, ands, or buts about that. But still feel the same way next year. When it comes time to register, you don't want to play, then I won't sign you up, bro. I'm not going to make you do this. And so we got to this year and I was like, okay, how do you guys feel about soccer? And he's like, I don't want to play soccer. I was like, all right, so we're not going to play soccer. Like I'm just, once they show you they're interested in something, you just lean into it and try to foster that. And if they decide like, actually, I'm not that interested. Like my oldest wants to play basketball. So we went to basketball tryouts and he was like, you know what? I think I just like playing basketball with my friends, like recreationally. I don't think I want to do this competitively. I don't want to work this hard at having to play basketball. And it's like, well, shit. Okay.
Stunning self-awareness.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's like, maybe he's a little lazy. It's in a small respect, because he still runs around. He's still active. He still rides his bike. He just doesn't want to run fucking back and forth on the court for an hour and a half, 2, 3, 4 times a week. Hey man, you know what? I'm okay with that. Right. Like, but you've got to, I just tell them like, look, you've got to do something. We've got to find things to occupy your time. Like, I don't mind you playing video games, because I played a shit ton of them as a kid. I still also miraculously found ways to get outside and go hang out with my friends and rollerblade to the arcade or ride my bike around the neighborhood all day long. So like, I don't have a issue with video games. Like, yeah, we'll play them together. Like we all play Fortnite together pretty once in a while. And that like blows my fucking mind, dude. The first time we all like got a win in Fortnite together, like this house erupted. It was so fucking dope, dude. Like, and I've played video games with my friends forever and we win. It's cool. But like playing with your kids who have like learned this game over time and are now like kind of competent at it, and sometimes as good as you, or at some point they'll be better than me, is just like getting to share those cool ass moments. Like we played, Clint Eastwood together not too long ago. My kid on the drums is playing the drum beat, and I just, I'm hitting the keyboard part. And we're just like, we're playing music together. And it's like, bro, I never did this with my parents, like, and you grew up in a much like close knit household, and it was just like, you had a much better family, like existence of life than I did. But
we were also very musical. Yeah. Like that was like a strange part of being in my house, is like you had to participate in music. It was like a foregone conclusion. Like, we're just doing that here. We're all singing.
Thanks, Jack, bro. Thank you.
Exactly. Well, and both of them, my parents met. My parents met gigging shows in New York City. So
that's crazy. Jack and Dot. Props to them. Shout out to them.
Yeah. Shout out to my parents. Yeah, they were. Absolutely. They always brought it. They made some mean cookies. They always hosted a mean party.
Man,
So.
But they've done a great. You've got a good foundational like parental guidance from just like being raised by two super dope parents. So
yeah, I didn't appreciate that as much as I should have when I was younger. But
nobody does,
the age
man.
Of 20, yeah, you just don't, because you don't. You haven't seen enough, and then you start to see more of the world, and you're like, fuck, I feel very grateful to have had them as, and there's tons of shit that they told me when I was growing up that I just didn't want to hear, and I was pissed off about it, but it was like the right thing. I don't know. There's like so many elements of like growing older that when I just wish I'd listened to their lessons sooner. So I'm trying to like get sage advice from people who do this well, and see like, how do I let's say my kid is similar to me in that he's maybe depressed, maybe a morbid sensibility of what the world is based on the situation in the world. How do I communicate to him that, like, you know, that is okay?
Yeah, that's it. That's how you do it.
Also doesn't like discourage us from living a life.
Yeah.
That's not going to stop us from making the best of what we
tell him your stories. You get him around people that have also been similar. You put him around kids that, you know, have a similar mindset and, you know, build a community, right? Like, people thrive when they're in a community that they feel cared for or feel like people give a shit about them. So that really is like a big thing.
One. Yeah.
But like you said, my kids, I'm their hero right now, right? I'm cool as hell. I'm fucking papa. I'm just the dopest dude. But like, my kid's going to be 13, 14 in a few years. And I'm going to be the dumbest fucking person on the planet. And I'm ready for that. Like, I think if I died today, right? Or if I was about to die in an hour or something, and somebody's like, looking back, do you think you did enough as a father, right? And sure, there's moments where I was like, I wish I would have maybe been a little more patient or whatever. But like, for the most part, man, I've killed it. Like, I've been attentive. I've been present. I've given my children the autonomy to just like kind of flourish into whoever they are, and not tried to influence it so much. Like, the only things I really want my children to do are just be empathetic individuals, be people who care about people around them, and are, you know, just kind fucking people. Like, you can be an asshole once in a while, that's fine, I don't care. But generally, I want you to be a kind person. I want you to be looking out for other people. I want you to be concerned with your community and making sure that whatever part you play in that, you're doing, right?
You do it.
And this is a long game. Like, I don't know how good of a parent I will have been until my kids are 20, 25, 30 years old, and not yet, you know, not serial killers, right? That's a goal. Don't raise a serial killer. That's kind of where I'm at.
We did it.
You know,
exactly.
right? Just don't raise a unproductive member of society, right? Like, otherwise, be whoever the hell you want. How can I foster it? Just lean into what your interests are. Like, my kid loves reading comic books, right? That's his big thing right now. And I'm like, bro, whatever will get you into reading or interest you in reading, I don't care what it is. If he was like, hey, Papa, I want to get these like essays from James Baldwin, I'm like, oh, fantastic. Like, I don't care what it is. The literacy rate of our country is like, what, 60% of people read it in 8th grade level or better? 60%?
It's
almost half of the people you know read at a 8th grade level or below an 8. Like, what the hell are we doing here? Like, I just need someone who is self-aware, is self-sufficient, right? Like, I've taught my kid can make mac and cheese on his own. He can come home and make ramen in the microwave on his own. Like, he can cook scrambled eggs on his own. These are things that just like teach him some life skills, teach him basic empathy, teach him how to process their emotions, right? Because they still, I mean, my 10-year-old still doesn't get it, right? My 7-year-old, they still don't get it.
I'm almost 40
fucking 40,
and I still don't get it.
And I still don't get it, right? So just giving grace, I think having grace, and also giving grace to yourself in moments where like you feel like you failed. Like, this is a new thing for you. You've never been a father before. So every moment,
if I feel like I failed, then my head is in the right place.
Yeah, absolutely.
If I feel like I failed, that means I can improve. So.
My kids tell me all the time, like, you're the best, Papa. I'm like, well, I'm the only papa you've ever had. And sometimes I don't feel like the best. I tell them that. Sometimes I feel like I'm not the best. And they're like, well, yeah, you know, sometimes you don't meet the mark. But overall, like, you're the best fucking pop. I couldn't imagine, you know, like, they see their other friends who, some of their friends have like very wealthy, right? That's have a very wealthy household, but that kid isn't getting the amount of time on a consistent, regular basis as my kids are. And that's just important to me. Like, I could go and make ass loads more money, I'm sure, but that cuts into the time that I have with my people. And I don't want to do that. And so in the end, I think, it will benefit me. And I'm not saying my friends' kids aren't getting some benefit from that, but like, they see that, right? Like, their friends are sometimes like, oh man, I wish I wasn't at school till 5 o'clock. You know, I wish my parents picked me up at 3, you know, like, And it's like, yeah, look, this kid is just like yearning for connection with their parent. And you don't have that. You don't have that yearning. Yeah. Do you want me to be able to buy you your own iPads? Yes. Do you want me to be able to take you to Disney World every year? Yes. Do you want me to be able to buy you this and that every time you ask for something? Of course you do. But in the end, I think you're going to come back and realize like, my pops couldn't give me everything I asked for.
We had it all.
Damn, did I have like a connection? Yeah. Did I learn and grow from this person? But all that came from me not getting that, right? Like my dad was not that dude. He was nothing like I am. Like I don't even use him as a benchmark anymore because I have far surpassed anything he ever did productively for me as a dad, right? Like
even in high school, you already possess that. Like a lot of people grow up in that situation and it just hurts them forever. They never get over it. And it creates many, many problems. You had, and I don't know how you did it. Maybe it was spite. Maybe it was like refusing
I think a lot of it is spite.
to be like that. But
yeah.
I could even recognize that. Like you had already overcome the pain that most people suffer from that. You had already blown past that.
And I think it's a lot of
bigger and better things, you know.
And I would attribute that to my mom. Like she taught me how to feel my emotions and be okay and healthy and expressive. And she never like, if I cried about something, she wouldn't be like, oh, you need to stop crying about this. Or, you know, she'd be like, yeah, cry. You should get it out. You know, talk about how you're feeling right now. My mom was really integral to that, like emotional intelligence as I grew up. And yeah, a lot of it was spite. And it was me as an empathetic person just not wanting other people to feel like that. Like it's like, fuck, dude, this feels like shit. And if I can do things to help people not feel like this, then fuck, yeah, that's what I want to do. Like, I don't want my sister or my brother to feel like this, right? So it's, just, my biggest concern is that like my kids think I did it wrong. And so they try to do it differently and they do it the way my dad did, or, can I keep this generational, like, goodness moving on? Like when my grandchildren get treated like this by their dads.
You already broke it. You already broke it.
Totally.
Like that was
a lot of people say it like
then.
You do the opposite of your parents, right? A lot of people say that. And so it's like, well, fuck, I don't want my kids to do that. I'd rather them not be parents if that's going to be the case, right? But I feel like anecdotally, you, who has two very great examples of parents, are going to be also a good parent, because while there are things that you wish your parents may have done differently, you realize whether those are beneficial or not, right? And you can implement the ones that you now realize were beneficial, and you can not implement the ones that you didn't think were beneficial to you, right? But again, every person's different. Your kid is going to be whoever the hell they are.
Who they are,
yeah, right. And as long as and as long as you have that mindset, I think as a parent, there's really nothing more you can do than just get the fuck out of the way, let them dictate how they, how they're going to be who they are. Obviously, you want to give them good opportunities and put them in positions where they're in the best places to learn or socialize or whatever. But even if they don't have all of that, they have a home environment where they're safe, where they experience new things, and they know they can talk about them, or they know they can suss it out with both of their parents, and they'll come to a figuring it out, or they won't, and it will take longer than whatever. But like, there's really, I don't really like ever have moments where I'm like, man, this is fucking so hard, dude. Like, this is so fucking hard. And it's definitely difficult. Sometimes it's definitely stressful, right? Like, great example, last week, 2 weeks ago, my kids were on fall break. I worked from home all week. And I'm working from home, and they're hanging out, and they're like, hey, can we ride our bikes to the gas station? And I'm like, guys, I got this work. I got a meeting coming up. And they're like, no, can we ride there by ourselves? And they've never done that. Never. And like, I was a kid that rode my fucking bike. I was 9 years old.
Sure.
I was in the neighborhood tearing ass. I was gone all day long. I didn't know how to get a hold of my mom. I mean, I knew her work phone number, so I guess if I needed to find a payphone or something, I could do that, or just go to some random person's house, like, I need to use your phone. But I was like, the fucking like Jordan Peele gif where he's just sweating bullets, you know? And I was like, yeah, you can. You can ride your bike a mile down the road. And I thought they were going to have to go to the gas station that's like kind of across one busy street and then you can ride all the way up. But they actually just rode down to the gas station where they didn't have to cross any busy streets. I was like, you fucking...
Even smarter.
Yeah, right? So I say, go ahead. You know, they got their helmets on. Their bikes are ready to go. I gave them $10 so they could spend $5 each. And in my mind, I'm calculating how much time it should take for them to get there, spend a little time deciding, and then come back. And we reached the 35-minute mark, which was like, fuck, this is like maybe a little long. And this is the most stressed I've ever been as a parent. Like, there's a couple times you're going to take your kid to the park and they're going to be playing and maybe you look at a text message or something or not, or maybe you're talking to another parent, right? Something that just kind of takes your eyes off your kid for a moment and you go back to look for your kid and you don't see them, right? You're like, there's like instantly a crazy fear that hits you. You're like, holy shit, where's my kid? And you're scanning and scanning and scanning and scanning and scanning and scanning. And then boom, they pop out from wherever. And you're like, oh God, it happens. No matter what, it's coming. It's going to happen to you. So just know that your kid's probably still there and you're going to be fine. So the 35-minute mark hits and I'm like, you know what? I'm just going to get in the car. I'm going to drive the way that they probably went. I'll probably see them on the sidewalk, you know, riding home or whatever. And I put my shoes on and I open the garage and I hit the garage button door and it's pulling up and I see feet and tires. And they're like, how the heck did you know we were home already, dude? And I was like,
please,
you know, please. Papa's intuition, duh. Like they had no idea my keys are in my hand. I'm about to get in my car. But it was just like such a hilarious, serendipitous maybe is a good word to use moment to just like, you know, I gave them the autonomy. I gave them the freedom to go and be and explore, even against my own anxiousness. Like it's not that I didn't want to let them, you know, I still remember what it's like being a kid. I still think I have a childlike spirit once in a while. And even with them, like, I just want them to experience kid shit as much as they can, because I know that in 10 years, that shit's gone, bro. Your summers are gone. You don't have summers anymore. You don't have fall break anymore. Like, you work and that's it, my guy. So that was like that's been like one of the most fun parent moments, you know, but also like my kid's turning 10, right? After he turned 9, I basically have been hyping up 10 years old. Like, oh, I can't wait for you to turn 10, bro. Double digits. We're going to throw a huge party. And in like April or May, we got an invitation from one of our friends for their wedding. And the wedding is literally, it's on my kid's 10th birthday and it's in San Diego. And it was just like, oh, man, this is like, you know, this is just like one of those moments where it's like, fuck, you know, my kid's going to have tons of birthdays, but I've been hyping this one up.
Yeah.
And my friends are going to get married likely once. Like, you know, that's the hope. I mean, statistics say probably not, maybe, who knows? But it was like, do I go to this wedding or do I stay behind for my kid's birthday? And I'm going to the wedding, so I'll just get rid of that surprise. I'm going to the wedding, but you know, in 2 weeks' time, I have a huge party planned for my kid, and it sucks because it's a little late. And this is like the weekend of his birthday is the weekend where he's home with us. So, but I gave him the option. I said, hey man, you can go to California with us, but on your birthday
is a wedding.
You know, half the day is a wedding. And so you're going to be like hanging out in a hotel with a babysitter, you know, or you can stay here. Your mom is willing to take you guys. You can have a birthday party. You can see your family. You can see your friends. There's a event at school, like for trick-or-treating that in the same night. So we're, you know, doing other stuff. Tomorrow, we're going to see Spirited Away in the theaters.
Sick.
Super stoked about that. Like, I took him to My Neighbor Totoro earlier this year because the AMCs do like a Studio Ghibli Fest. And so like once a month or something, they show an old Miyazaki film. So we have that, and we have, you know, a little Friends thing on Wednesday we'll do. But he wanted the G.I. Joe Real American Hero. Those are the comics he's really been into lately. They put out a compendium of issues 1 through 50. And so that's what I picked up for him yesterday. So for his birthday, he got it's huge. It's thick. It's like this big. So he's, got a whole 50 comics to read. We got a big old party planned for him in a couple weeks. It's after his birthday, but whatever. It is what it is. And this is the last wedding we are going to attend until our wedding in May.
Your wedding, yeah.
Yeah. And then, this is the 15th wedding that Alicia and I have been to together since we started dating. And ours will be the 16th.
Time for yours, buddy.
Which is crazy. Like, I know people have been together 15, 20 years that haven't been to 10 weddings together, right? Like,
yeah,
it's been a wild ride of people getting married over the last 7 years. Yeah. Fuck, 7 years.
Capped with you, man.
Capped with us, yeah, in Ireland, which will be just I'm stoked. Sick. There's a few friends recently that I've had to back out on my side that aren't going to be able to go, which is, a bummer because I'd love for them to be there. But I knew when we set this up that it's a big ask. It's a huge ask, man. Like, it's a lot to have to be able to like get the time off and spend the money to get to Ireland and whatever. So my mom's going to be there. My future wife will be there. And that's really like all I care about.
That's what matters.
Yeah. Like there could be 12 people there for all I give a shit as long as she's there. That's all we really need is her and I, and anybody else is just a bonus. So, but.
Well, dude, I think this is a perfect spot to wrap it up.
That's great.
So many cool, exciting things coming up for you on the docket. And then, of course, after you've had a few more titles released, we'll have to have you back on. And I'm invested in this story clearly, as I have been from the beginning.
Yeah.
But, I know with your work ethic and how you like to approach shit, you will turn this into something. So I guess to close out, you want to tell people where to check out what you do, how to support what you do?
Yeah. I guess mostly Audible. You can search for Jeff Tinnean as a narrator. I have one book up there right now. By the end of this month, I should have another 2 books up there. So you can find me there. My website is not published, but one of my goals was to have it ready to go by my 40th birthday. I don't think I'm going to meet that goal because I haven't put any time into making that happen. So, but one of these days, voxtinnean.com will be up and running. So we'll maybe push the goal to the end of this year. I'm not super savvy on like website design, even with like websites or programs that are helping you do it. I'm just not putting the time into it. So, and it's getting my demo up. But if you are a voice actor, caster, or producer, you can find me on voices.com. You can find me on Voices123 or Voice123, one of those, Voices123 and voices.com. And backstage, I'm also there. So I have profiles all over the place. But yeah, if you're out there listening and you've loved my voice for these last couple hours, then Jeff@voxtinnean.com, you can email me and, we can work on something. So, but this has been super fun. Like this is my first podcast I've ever been on, and I've listened to your podcast a few times. I'm a Patreon subscriber now. So
nice. Thank you.
Supporting my people. So this has been awesome. I've really appreciated, getting to do this. And when you asked me a couple weeks ago, I was like, oh, this is going to be great. And
you were right. I knew this.
No problem filling the time.
Yeah.
So
we filled this time right up. And, one of the things that I like to do at the show is just kind of like showcase to people that there are a ton of different ways to find something you enjoy and like make a life or have it supplement your life. So many of the people that have come on the show are like people that I know through doing things like that. So it's just exciting to see like another person who is taking that and like actually running with it. And I'm stoked to see where it leads you, dude.
Hell yeah. I'm stoked for the next one of these and see where I'm at. See if I'm a household name yet.
Well, very few voiceover people are. So if you did, that would be like James Earl Jones level.
Yeah, right.
That would be pretty epic.
Yeah, I don't have that deep of a timbre.
Not yet.
Not yet. I just need to smoke more cigarettes again. I need to get back.
More cigarettes.
I need to get back into smoking cigarettes. And my fiance is like, "What the hell are you doing?" I'm like, "Don't worry.
It's for the voice.
It's for the career, darling.
You want me to make more money, don't you?" You gotta love it.
This was your idea, goddammit.
Yeah, exactly. Just
you're responsible for this. You're making me do this. Anyway, all right, man. I love you, dude. Thank you so much for having me on.
I love you too. Thank you again for doing this for me. And we'll continue the conversation in the future. For everyone listening, this has been the Totally Legitimate Business Podcast. Please check out Jeff's work and support what he's doing. We'll catch you on the next one. See y'all.
This has been the Totally Legitimate Business Podcast. The end. With your host, James Oliva. Executive producers, Clint G and James Oliva.
That's obnoxious.
Sound design, mix, and master by James Oliva.
Literally no one cares.
For more Totally Legitimate Business, subscribe to our YouTube channel at Totally Legitimate Business or add us on TikTok at TLB Pod.
When will this end?
Thank you for listening. Now get back to work.
Move it along, buddy.